A lot of the gang leaders live in this area, and you can see some of the markings of Choneros, which is one of the big gangs here. We're on the border now between two rival gang territories.
Keep eyes on, but stay where you are. I can see 3-4 men approaching the car. They've got masks on.
He kicked the throttle up here. Oh my God.
To understand Ecuador's unraveling, you have to follow the chain. And we do.
Acaba de una vez con esta historia, que no queden recuerdos de tu maldito amor. Te juro que no importa, ya te he entregado todo y de qué me ha servido si solo he recibido millones de tu amor. Acábame de matar, aunque me
ese es el brazo, mira, ese es el brazo, ese es el brazo.
We just asked the gentleman to count to 10 for me.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
On nearly every street, in almost every home, the violence reaches in. Ecuador was once Latin America's island of peace. Not anymore.
It's already been a month since the last time they saw their son Alejandro. Said the last time they saw him, he was leaving his house.
Solo Dios sabe lo que le haya pasado a él. Solo pedimos que nos proporcionen dónde está, cómo está, lo que Dios disponga de la vida de él.
Their son, like so many across Ecuador, was being pressured to join a gang. He refused and then disappeared.
¿Están hablando con la policía?
No hace por buscarnos, la policía no nos hace por llamarnos.
And so they lean on their faith to bring their son home.
Un corazón contrito y humillado, él no lo desprecia. Y si nosotros confiamos en Dios, pues él lo va a hacer.
Trusting he'll come back home. Their story, their pain, is echoed across this country. Ecuador is not a cocaine producer, and yet the blood spills here. Cocaine is flooding into these streets, and with it, an explosion of brutality. You might think you know this story: gangs, drugs, corruption. But what we find here may surprise you, because this isn't just about cocaine. It's about a system, one that pulls in the poor, empowers the brutal, and protects the powerful.
Oh my gosh. There's blood on the ground. Careful with your step here.
To understand Ecuador's unraveling, we follow the chain to see who moves, who profits, and who pays. We start on the chase.
They've just kicked it in. They've just kicked the throttle up here. They've got eyes on, I think it's these two boats actually.
Ecuador's coastline stretches for almost 1,400 miles along the Pacific. just offshore from Manta, were pulled into action faster than we expected.
We were meeting with one of the commanders here, asking a little bit about this potential embed, when suddenly they got information that there were 2 boats leaving from a nearby port. On those boats, they believed gasoline and drugs.
They call this the Narco Superhighway, and you can think of Manta as the on-ramp. From here, shipments flow out to the US and Europe. The cocaine itself doesn't originate in Ecuador, though. It pours in from Colombia in the north and Peru in the south. Those are the world's top cocaine producers. Ecuador has become the transit hub, a trafficker's gateway to the world. The Navy pulls over this boat. No drugs on board, but dozens of fuel containers. Officials say this amount of gas is most often used to fuel long-distance drug runs. These are the runners. They make up the base level of a global empire, not gang members, just fishermen, pressured by circumstance, pulled in by money, and often seen by gangs as expendable. For the fishermen, it's worth the risk. They tell us each fuel canister costs them about $40, and they sell them at sea for up to 10 times as much. But drug runs? That is a different league. Higher stakes, bigger payoffs. This fisherman turned drug smuggler says the temptation is far too great.
He says here it'll cost them about $500,000, but when they get to their final destination in los Estados Unidos, it's $5 million that they can get in one boat.
That's a 900% markup. $500,000 in, $5 million out. Now, he's not pocketing millions. Those dollars move to those higher up the chain. Still, making tens of thousands in a month? The ocean never paid like that. He agrees to show us how it all works, as long as we don't show his face or use his real voice. It's not the police he fears, so much as the gangs who hire him. He says they're always watching.
We put a box in the hull of the boat to hide the drugs.
They put a compartment right here. They put them all along the way.
To avoid getting detected, everything is in black. The bags of drugs, what we wear, everything is dark so they can't see us. As a fisherman, I could make $300 a month, but doing an illegal run up to just off the coast of Mexico, I can make $30,000 to $60,000 a month. It's good money.
Even while breaking the law, he trusts God will keep him safe, and, like so many before him, promises the next run will be his last.
I just need one more trip, and then I'll stop.
But often, their trips end at sea. No goodbyes, no explanations, just gone. It's a painful void for those left behind. Solanda Bermeo says her son was also a drug runner, lured by the promise of fast money. Now he's imprisoned. She's back to fishing, trying to hold their family together. And she is not alone in this grief. At Solanda's home, they gather quietly. Wives, mothers, daughters, sisters, each carrying a story of someone who left and never came back. Most are too afraid to show their faces, but they're desperate to be heard. Their loved ones were fishermen, recruited to smuggle drugs across the sea. Some disappeared, others sit in foreign prisons.
Desgraciadamente ellos lo hacen por la situación económica que se vive en nuestro país. No tenemos dinero, no tenemos trabajo, no tenemos cómo subsistir y nuestras mujeres tienen que de ahí adelante ser padre y madre para nuestros hijos.
Since January of 2024, Solanda's group has documented more than 2,800 fishermen missing, dead, or detained abroad.
Ya no quiero recordar. Yo he sido tan anegada a mis hijos que ellos, teniendo compromiso, eran mis hijos mimados. Al menos a mí como madre me duele. Y yo pienso que todas las mamás pensamos iguales. O las esposas que sí quieren a sus maridos, ellas piensan iguales.
The women around her wrote letters to men they may never see again.
Mis hijos, mi amor, la vida es dura. Mi amor, ya no le voy a abandonar. Aquí lo voy a esperar. Por nosotros no se preocupe.
These women carry their pain quietly, and in many cases, they know their sons and husbands aren't coming home. Ecuador's Navy chases the runners still out there, patrolling far beyond the coast, deep into the Pacific. Into these waters, once known for wonder, not war, the Galapagos Islands.